Hey, welcome back to Livin MN Outdoors. I'm Daniel, and thanks for tuning in to another weekly ice and fishing report. Before we dive into this week's report, just a reminder, guys, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Facebook. If you use any of the guides or resorts mentioned in today's report, please let them know you saw them on Livin MN Outdoors. And with that being said, let's dive into this week's fishing. All right, this week we're going to start up on Leech Lake out of Horseshoe Bay Lodge. They are located on the main lake portion of Leech Lake. They currently have 17 to 19 inches of ice. However, they are dealing with a very active crack. They are hoping to be able to open up for this weekend. If they are able to open, they are going to be allowing 3/4 ton gas pulling up to 24-foot tandems. Now, it is day to day on whether or not they can open because of that active crack. They do have a bridge in place, but with the rapid expansion of the ice this season, it is quite active, and they are waiting to see if it settles down with the warmer temps this coming weekend. So stay tuned to our Facebook page and Horseshoe Bay Lodge's Facebook page, and they will let you know as soon as they plan to open their access to the public. Now, as far as fishing goes out there, the fishing actually has been pretty good for the few people who have been able to get out. Walleye, eel pout, and perch. Not a lot of details on the depth out there, but that 17 to 21 feet of water on the edges of the humps, especially on the steeper breaks, usually produces the most fish. Now, if they do open, the tulipy and whitefish bite, that is always dynamite out there. That deep water, that 26 to 32 feet of water is usually best on the edges of those mud basins. Small tungsten jigs tipped with a little plastic or Euro larva typically works best to catch those. Now, for the walleyes and eel pout, big red or pink glow spoons, tip those with a minnow head or a full minnow. Otherwise, a dead stick for the walleyes. Put a big rainbow or a small sucker minnow on there, and more than likely you will get some nice walleyes to bite. Now, if you're looking for a place to stay, Horseshoe Bay Lodge does have hotel rooms. They have large group housing. They do have a full bar and restaurant, live bait, propane refill station, and you can ask them about rental houses as well. So if you are looking to get up to the main lake on Leech Lake, go ahead and call Cam or Austin from Horseshoe Bay Lodge. All right, now moving over to Traders Bay. Talk to Kyle from Acorn Hill Resort. They are working with 16.5 to 18 inches of good clear ice. Their vehicle restrictions for this weekend will be all gas trucks. So half ton, 3/4 ton, 1 ton. As long as they are a gas truck, you are good to go. And then they are going to be allowing you to pull up to a 26-foot tandem wheelhouse. So no diesels yet this coming weekend, but all gas trucks and up to 26-foot tandem wheelhouses are a go. They have been dealing with an active crack out on the bay there. There is plenty of area inside of that crack to fish, but they are placing a bridge either today or tomorrow morning, and that will extend their fishing grounds out to Stony Point. And from what I've been hearing, there are quite a few perch, walleye, and eel pout being caught out in the Stony Point area. Now, the best depths for the walleyes, that 16 to 19 feet of water on the top edges of break lines is best. Catching those on rainbow shiners or small sucker minnows. Otherwise, small jigging spoons tipped with a minnow head is working as well. Now, as far as the perch bite, over on Tim's Hole in that 12 to 14 feet of water has been producing some nice fish, as well as over on Greg's break line in that 14 to 18 feet of water as well. Best ways to catch those perch, small rainbow on a plain red hook or smaller jig. Otherwise, a small jigging spoon tipped with a minnow head is producing a lot of nice perch as well. Now, as far as the bite goes, this cold front really did shut the fish down, but it is starting to pick back up as things are starting to level out. Now, Acorn Hill Resort, they do have cabins, day houses, sleeper houses, guided perch trips. They do have some availability for all of those this coming weekend, but they are filling up really fast. So if you want to get in on some of that this weekend or in the future, go ahead and call Kyle from Acorn Hill Resort. All right, now moving over to Lake Winnie, I talked to Chad from the Pines Resort. They have anywhere from 17 to 19 inches of ice. As far as vehicle restrictions, they don't have any. They are allowing out the biggest trucks with the biggest wheelhouses as of now, and they are working on extending their fishing grounds. They did get over the crack out on the main lake now, and they will be extending their fishing area out to Perch Bar and the Rock Pile. Now, as far as the walleye bite goes, the cold front did kind of shut them down, but like on Leech, they are starting to pick back up some now. And I do expect with the warmer temps this weekend, the bite to be very good. Now, the best steps to target those walleyes, 17 to 21 feet of water. Sand flats have been producing more fish than the humps, but there are still some fish on the humps as well. Now, as far as how to catch those walleyes, the jigging bite has been extremely tough, and they even seem to be a little bit spooked by jigging. But the dead sticks with a plain white hook or a small white jig tipped with a rainbow has been working extremely well. Now, as far as the perch bite goes, they're getting perch anywhere from 10 to 18 feet of water. Up in the bay or out a little bit further on those deeper sand flats. Not a whole lot of perch hanging out on the humps. And best way to catch those perch is on a plain hook with a smaller minnow or a small jigging spoon tipped with either waxworms or a minnow head. Now, as far as the pike go, like usual, guys, they are everywhere out there. Doesn't matter the depth, doesn't matter what you're fishing with. You are going to catch pike out on Lake Winnie, regardless of anything. So if you want to get in on some good pike action, Lake Winnie is definitely the place to go. Now, as far as the panfish bite goes, they are still catching some really nice panfish up in the bay, 8 to 10 feet on the weeds and weed lines, especially if you can kind of find a pocket up inside of the weeds. Fish a 4 or 5 millimeter tungsten jig tipped with some Euro larvae or waxworms, and you're probably going to catch some giant bluegill and crappies. Now, if you guys are looking for a place to stay up on Lake Winnie, the Pines Resort does have cabins available this weekend and the rest of the season. They also have spear houses and day houses, along with live bait, fish cleaning shack, full bar and restaurant, and anything else you need to make a fishing trip successful. So if you guys are looking to get up to Lake Winnie this coming weekend or in the future, go ahead and call Chad from the Pines Resort. All right, now if you guys are looking to book a sleeper house out on Lake Winnie, Scott from zupsguideservice, he has 4 amazing ice castles out on the lake right now. They are doing extremely well on both perch and walleye with a few bonus eel pout mixed in. He does have some availability for this coming weekend, and then I will put a little graphic down here showing the rest of his available weekends throughout the season. So if you guys are looking to get up on Lake Winnie, catch a bunch of nice walleye, perch, and some bonus eel pout, go ahead and call Scott from zupsguideservice. All right, moving over to Mille Lacs Lake. I talked to Jeff from Castles Resort. He currently has 21 plus inches of ice out to barrel 9, which I believe extends out past the mouth of the bay. And then from barrel 9 out to Hennepin Island, they have 18 inches plus of ice within their fishing area. As far as vehicle restrictions, inside of barrel 9, they really don't have any vehicle or wheelhouse restrictions. And then past Barrel 9 out to Hennepin Island, they are going to be allowing half-ton pickup trucks pulling single axle wheelhouses. Now, as far as the fishing goes out there, there are a ton of little perch and walleyes. It's not a matter of whether or not you're going to catch fish out there, because those little perch and walleyes are constantly biting out there. It's just a matter of whether or not you can get on some of those bigger perch or those bigger walleyes. With all of those smaller perch and baby walleyes, those big walleyes do not seem to be extremely hungry out there. However, if you are in the right place at the right time, you can get some of them to eat. Now, they are still catching some of those big walleyes up in the bay. There's kind of a sneaky 6 to 10 foot of water bite in the low light periods. You got to be really quiet. Keep your lights dimmed down. Small sucker minnows on a dead stick or jigging a buckshot spoon with a minnow head is producing some of those shallow fish. Now, some other areas to target, out between barrel 7 and 9 off to the left in about 17 to 20 feet of water. They are picking off some nice fish out there as well, but you do have to weed through a bunch of those smaller ones to get them. Now, as far as the pike bite goes, they are still catching some really nice pike out there. Whether they're spearing them or tip-up fishing, 6 to 12 feet of water on the weed edges, big sucker minnows or smelt, and they are putting some absolute giants topside. Now, if you guys are looking for a place to stay this coming weekend, Castles Resort, they do have cabins, day houses, sleeper houses. If you're not a fan of sleeping out on the lake, you can rent a cabin and a day house combo. Get best of both worlds, and you can have an absolute blast up on Mille Lacs Lake. So, if you're looking to get up to Mille Lacs Lake out of the Isle Bay area, go ahead and call Jeff or Kimberly from Castles Resort. All right, guys, well, that's going to do it for this week's fishing report. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Like I said before, really appreciate it if you'd hit that like button down below. If you do make it out fishing, remember, do not throw your trash on the ice. Don't dump your sewage. Be respectful of other fishermen. Don't crowd your neighbor. And most importantly, don't forget to get on out there and get living.